Yeah. Right, come on then, Maui. What is your good point? Spoiler, everyone's been waiting. Drum roll. Brrr, go on, hit us with it. What is it?
I mean, there's other aspects to the new update that Valve came up with, but I feel like the good part of this is just that they made a firm stance on the SnapTap aspect.
Yes.
And that's one where I feel like it's been weirdly contested in so many different ways. And I feel like, different people are going to tune into the show, so I'll kind of reiterate.
Didn't you say you got the keyboard yourself? Didn't you get one of them and test it out or something?
I got the Wooting right next to me.
Okay, so you took them both, obviously.
They sent me...
Comment on what it's actually like, because half the problem is the forums that either think it does nothing or it's why Nico's really good now. It's like, bro, not Nico. You know what I mean? He existed for a long time before that. Come there, Barry, hit us with it. What's the good reason why it's banned?
Well, so I feel like, okay, it's more of like the principle behind it, and I feel like there's been a lot of appeal to authority arguments, which I've kind of just sort of down. I feel like that's kind of the weakest way to play through this, which I've mostly talking about like other pundits when they want to talk about this stuff. I'll just keep this like really simple and really straightforward and succinct, is that it does two things when you have SnapTap. It raises the skill ceiling to an inhuman level because you can have a millisecond perfect release of the opposite strafe key, and it raises the skill floor. I feel like people were doing like trying to say, oh, it's just one, it's just the other. It actually does both, and I feel like that's problematic also because we've all seen a Hooksy missing a counter strafe, and then he misses the first bullet.
Well, his problem is he didn't have SnapTap back in the day. If he'd have had that, obviously he'd look like fucking Nico, wouldn't he?
Even at Cologne, you see some players occasionally, like, they'll miss that first shot. Like, it happens. And people did want to act like, oh, this won't affect pros at all. It's like, if you actually watch these games in POVs, the pros do mess up their first bullet from time to time. Sometimes they don't hit a perfect counter strafe, and with SnapTap, you just wouldn't be missing that one. On top of that, I feel like the whole null bind discussion was something that was an obviously very slippery slope. And I know that there's another aspect to this that I don't really, the jump throw stuff. Maybe we'll get to that later.
By the way, once you made your point, even though this is the good, Elige can do later. We'll do the whole thing with the jump throw as well, but we'll do that after this part. We'll get it in because everyone wants to hear it anyway. Go on, Mario, keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like the thing is that it's good that they just made a very solid point on all of nullbinds and all of what hardware can do for you, and not allowing something like this to happen. Because I will just quote: "It's not a straw man. It's like, this is what Chad said on Talking Counter, that it's a natural progression of technology." And I just that kind of blew my mind as an argument point, because I just thought
so it's cheating technically, like wall hackers.
The natural progression of technology in League of Legends was that there was a monitor that used AI, that when there were skill shots that flew on the screen or whatever, it would then tell you where that came from off the screen. Like it would put a red dot on your screen. It's like you could even make the same argument. It's like, well, if they're professional players, they should already know where it is because it's a skill shot. So it's like they have to be in that range of play. It's like, yeah, but that's holding your hand to do something which does need to be calculated on your own merit, which is what SnapTap doesn't. It takes that away from you. It takes that skill away from you, just like that AI does the same thing. And I don't think that the natural progression of technology is a substantial argument, because there are simply just mechanics built into the game where you need to hone your abilities at it, and taking away something that's been a honed mechanic is just something that's dumbing the game down. And like I said, it raises the skill floor, it raises the skill ceiling to an inhuman level. And the comparison that I have is anybody with fighting game experience, it's like doing a combo for you. It's like, yes, every pro wants to do this multi-level combo, quarter circle, AB, whatever it is, backwards or whatever. And yes, every pro wants to do that, but sometimes they mess up. In a high pressure moment, they mess up, but SnapTap doesn't allow you to mess up. And that's why I think it never should have been in the game.
Go for it, Elige.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that they needed to make some sort of statement for it and have some type of detection for it, because not even just, I think the SnapTap thing, I agree. The biggest thing was the skill floor raising. I think that the skill ceiling, it does get raised slightly, but just
put it this way, you used it yourself. You were on the dreaded list of where they make the communists look at
just the last one.
Okay,
just the last one.
Okay, but you were on that list. Here's the question. I never noticed you miss much. Right? I guess it barely ever actually helped you that much, right? It was making 1 out of 30 times or something ridiculous, right?
Yeah, it's it feels slightly better. You're gonna notice it a little bit, that you just feel a little bit more crisp overall. It's not gonna be the difference maker between like the majority of your kills. It's not going to just make you 10% better as a player. It's probably going to make you 1 to 2% better on average because you're just missing less strafes. When you're clearing angles, it just feels a little bit better. So yeah, I think that it definitely helps probably the lower skilled players more as opposed to the pros. Like, yeah, it's definitely helping the pros, but raising the skill floor to a way higher level, I think, is what it does. But I thought the whole like discussion that, you know, you're just turning these players into absolute gods and Saw's gonna completely fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah, exactly. They all use it. I know.
Just relax. It is not that crazy. They all know how to counter strafe, guys. I swear to God. Saw was pretty good before too. So I think that was just a little bit overblown. And I think the auto stop binds after that probably is what really like got them going even quicker, because I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's like you would have these auto stop binds where you'd press like D and they would just counter strafe for you.
Oh,
like,
wow.
By default, which is that's actually just cheating.
Yeah, that's mental.
So it's that's why it's such a slippery slope and they have to do something about it.
Right. I will say the one angle, and again, I'll have to refer it to the people who have the keyboard here. The one problem I see is this, though, which is because this isn't like a setting in the game, it's actually based on hardware. The problem I see is like essentially Valve's going to have to keep checking what the latest hardware is and how to detect if people are using it, because isn't this like a antivirus developer cycle thing where once you get one ahead, because essentially the joke of this is it's only the SnapTap feature, which by the way, shout out to Razer, they've done great marketing there. Shit's been going crazy. The Wilting keyboard was there the whole time and could do things almost similar to this the whole time. It's just that everyone was like, shh, I'm doing this thing with the SOCD like that. So in a way, I do worry that this is going to become something that someone will try and get it through another loophole. It'll be in the tech again. What do you think, Elish?
Well, Wu-Ting didn't have it the entire time. They added SOC D is what they called it, but they added SnapTap like a couple of days after the Razer thing came out, and then slightly before that, like a week or something, they had it Rappy Snappy, which worked similarly, where it like kind of detected which key was further down. So it wasn't exactly the same. And if you saw like the asterisk on the list of like me, for example, at the Blastfall finals and Twists, that's why there was an asterisk, because we were using the Rappy Snappy and not the SnapTap. It's hard keeping track of all the names. So the
names are a nightmare. It's true. They have just tried to do that. It's like every version of those fake KFCs in other countries where it's like, what do you mean? It's Tennessee fried chicken. You're like, shut the fuck up. King fried chicken.
The thing is that I think needs to be the difference though, if people are like not keeping up between the differences, it was like first rapid trigger, then Rappy Snappy, then it was SnapTap. The difference that finally like they broke a threshold with SnapTap versus the other ones is that both rapid trigger and Rappy Snappy were based off of you doing all of the actions that then was what carried movement through to your character. But SnapTap was where it actually is, you just press something and it basically just auto fixes your movement. That's where it was the breaking point for me, at least, because then it just actually mimics null binds, which is something that years ago, I remember when I was playing CS Source, there was an ESEA forum where people were using aliases to make it so you could hold W or hold WA, WD, and then all you had to do was press S and it would cancel all of your movement instantaneously. And that's where I felt like ESEA admins, I think this was like 2007 or something like that, they made this statement that was like, we will not allow null binds for movement because, and I don't think, actually it might have been all null binds, but I know at least it was that sort of thing, which basically is what SnapTap did. Like with SnapTap and SOCD, you could actually, well, I did this. I made my W actually and my S key cancel each other also, so that I could have forward momentum and cancel that, or backwards momentum and cancel that with the other key. And it actually does help for your forward and backwards, which is, it's not as useful. Like I don't know if usefulness is like needs to be characterized in this whole argument, but it was something that it did help, and that was also a problem with the game too, or with the feature.
Yeah, I don't think that like you would just be able to start, like going straight and be able to instantly S-tap when somebody swings you and you'd be able to kill that guy. It's like, no, you're probably still dead, like 99,000 times out of however many.
Yes.
And I think that it's just where the key is just doing something for you. I agree with you. That's where you like draw the line. It's like if it's automatically inputting something, then that's where it's too much. And I do think that Valve is going to have to like keep on top of this. Not necessarily Valve, but Blast, ESL. I think that they should always like keep on top of like all of the hardware that's being used, because even the Valve stuff, like that command where they're like detecting the inputs, that's only on like the official Valve servers from what I understand right now. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be prone to false positives, and they have the technology to check this stuff anyway with that GitHub thing that, the guy that's checking all of the ticks anyway. So they could do that themselves, and it's just going to always be a battle. It's so much like cheating type of stuff.
I also do think, I'm actually not sure, obviously I don't know the context of Chad saying that. I think he's kind of wilding on that take. Like, the reason why is because, one, he's making it sound like it's good because it brings everyone up to a higher level. It just brings everyone closer together. It's not like then, like, Modesty gets to go high. There's a cap. You can only do perfect counter-strafe. As soon as everyone does close to perfect, there's nowhere for Modesty to go. And then also, for the fans on the forum who thought you'd cracked the code of why Nico's good again, the reason why that is a mental take is think about his deagle. He probably had the best counter-strafe of all time. That's why his eagle is so insane, you idiots. Because he's never ever moving while he does it. It just looks like he does because he perfectly stops on a dime. So why would you want anything that allows someone else to mimic what he does? Isn't one of the coolest things about CS? They've watered it down a bit, but how people move and the fact that like you could turn the nameplates off. We could do one of those segments that the betting companies do, and at least would know immediately who Nico is and who Twists is and who fucking Monacy is. Like you can actually see by the way they move in the server. So you don't want to make any of that stuff closer. Now, even though this is actually still the good section. Yeah, go on.
All right, well, yeah, one last thing about kind of like other people's angles, like, because they've talked about it on HLTV Confirmed. I've seen other people talk about it where another big argument like for SnapTap was just simply the argument that, well, we've opened Pandora's box and now we can't close it.
No, Valve can absolutely close it. They can ban you and everything. Yeah, it's all good.
Closed it. Yeah. They literally closed it. Now they can
by the way, in that analogy, even if you know what Pandora's box was, once you opened it, all the evil and chaos of the world came out. But if you could have closed that would have been brilliant. If you could put everyone back in, that would have been ideal. You've got your whole metaphor wrong there, HLTV. But listen, stay out of antiquity. It's not your thing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe do like Harry Potter or something like that. You know what I mean? Just get in your lane. Get in your lane. It's all good.
I just feel like a lot of arguments were presented about this with just the argument from authority, like appeal to authority fallacy, where it was just like, if Valve's not doing anything, then it's okay. And it's like, okay, well, we're not even trying to break down the premise of what's actually happening here and why it's actually bad. But I'm just glad at this point that it happened, and I presented arguments before even Valve did it about why it's bad with the nullbind, like that kind of logic. And yeah, okay, we can get to the whole like jump throw stuff.
Right, the thing about the jump throw thing is this just shows, Elijah's old enough to know this as well, this just shows how there really is nothing new under the sun, Elijah, because I'm pretty sure we had this discussion in 2015 when everyone was doing the smoke thing, and people like Carrigan were like, I think you should have it, and then you had like one or two boomer players, I don't know, maybe someone in Virtus Pro was like, I think it's a skill thing, because like Neo had practiced a million hours.
Olaf was
deja vu,
we've done this exact convo before, guys, so you already did some tweets where you basically said, like, to you, this is essentially like a nonsense removal. Like to you, it's just you hit one button instead of two. It doesn't remove all the scale, blah, blah, blah. So give me your take on it. Why were you against this one? It sounds like you didn't want the jump throw removed, right?
Yeah, I mean, people are acting as if this is like some crazy display of skill. Okay, so first of all, it's not some crazy display of skill, because not only is it very easy to just do two keys instead of one, but Valve is literally making it easy on purpose for us. They want it to be easy to do a jump bind. So if you're saying that there's like this 200 millisecond window for it to be perfect, then yeah, it's not a big deal. Valve wants everyone to be able to jump throw perfectly. So let's just have a bind. Why are we removing it then? If Valve wants everyone to be able to jump throw, why don't we just have a bind, or why don't we just allow it? So that's like my first point, is like, why not just allow it? So I mean, you could go from there, I guess. What do you think of that?
Well, I think with jump throws, they're basically laying down the law with the whole SnapTap discussion and saying, we're not allowing null binds. We're not allowing a single key to do two actions at the same time. However, I actually feel like that's the jump throw is at this point sort of like a quality of life bind. I don't actually see it in the same capacity as SnapTap, which is, yes, like, I've done, yesterday after the whole SnapTap stuff, I started doing all my W jump throws and stuff like that just to see. And I can hit them with like really, really high accuracy, almost never messing up. If I mess up, I know I'm messing up, but it's just that in a high pressure moment, you're like getting mollied at banana. You need to throw the good smoke to smoke off CT boost or whatever. You don't want to have to think about like W spacebar, let go of click at the same time, and you just want to throw the right smoke that you have there. And I even though I am against null binds, I actually think that this is a feature that is now so integral to high level play at Counter-Strike, and really fans could do it too. Like fans throw their jump throws, or like, I mean, low level people, they throw jump throws throws too. They throw running jump throws as well, or like W jump throws. I just think that it would actually be in Valve's best interest now to create their own sort of macro / null bind for W jump throws and just put that in the game. Like, I don't see any reason against that, actually. If they want to make it, if they want to put it there, I'm not going to die on a hill that I died on for SnapTap.
Yeah, I mean, they already had it in the game. That's the thing. Like, when CS2 was in the beta, it was in the options, and Flom said that as well. So it's something that they want, and I've talked to them about it before, and they pretty much just want it to be easy where you don't have to have a bind. But yeah, back to the quality of life thing, it's just much cleaner, like, to play. Like, it just feels nicer when you have to do, like, you know, a very precise lineup while you're going on the run, or if you're doing like a running middle click throw. It just feels much better to throw it, besides like the clunkiness. And from the point of like, this is like some skill thing, it really isn't. Like, I think that it's very easy to do. And yeah, I mean, I also was, you know, practicing my nades. Sorry, I didn't post it on Twitter, so no one can like give me props and be like, "Oh, he's practicing his nades, guys. See, look at him. He saw the update. Yeah, I saw it, guys. Like, I could do it. I swear. I don't know. I didn't feel like I had to post a video to show that, but I don't think that it's like a crazy display of skill. It's very easy. It just feels worse when you have to do the ones that are like more running based or middle click based. And my other point with it too is like, I don't think that the fans want to see games where people are missing smokes. Like, that's it's not fun to watch. Like, do you want to see people like just playing bad CS? There's smokes missing, flashes are wrong. Like, people miss enough nades already. And, you know, it's sad when you see people miss nades right now, but just, you know, like you said, high pressure stuff, someone misses a nade. It's like, that's not something fun to watch. Like, imagine in Cologne, like if in that grand final, people are just like missing nades left and right. You're like, oh, that was a shit final. It's not fun to watch.
No, I'm with you. To me, the distinction here is, first of all, there is actually way more skill, as I alluded to, in counter-strafing. I just told you examples of some of the best players ever at counter-strafing and how it sets them apart, and it even makes, like, a deagle better than it should be normally. Then also, there's the factor that, because, like you're saying, like, put it this way, the part people are forgetting is this. You're not taking a fight while you do the jump throw. We're not taking like processing power out your brain. You're doing it in fucking spawn half the time or in the other site.
Yep.
So all you're doing there, like you say, is you're just potentially ruining the end of a round. Imagine a round where there's like 2 versus 3 and then it's on like, I don't know, fucking just 2 A site and the 2 people who are T's are long and they throw the smoke. This isn't even one that would work in that sense. I know, but they throw smoke for catwalk or something, right? And it slightly misses because they fuck up without the jump bind, right? And it goes a little bit off, and then when they run up, you ready for the big tension? Well, they get and they just get killed through the gap in the smoke and it's dead. It's like that, or they peek, see, and go, "Oh, better save. We can't get over." It's like, what a fucking shit round that is. Like, and yeah, we already had this discussion 10 years ago. It's one of the only things, even though this is appeal to authority, I will say, I've heard almost no pro say, "Please keep SnapTap in, here's a good reason." Like we said, I've never heard a good reason for it. The all reasons are it's less negative or something. Like, oh, it makes everything a bit better. Like, whereas for the jump throw one, there was 1 or 2 people, like you say, back in the day. And by the way, as alluded to, they were ridiculous. It was like the people who played the really default Swedish CS, magically they were like, "I think you should take it out." And then all the Danes who were like tactical, like, "No, it has to be in the game. We need it in the game." And so you're just fucking trying to make it easier for yourself, you little rats. You just don't want him to do that smoke. Nowadays, we've done 10 years of doing this. Valve clearly want it in the game. And then also, let's be real. Here's the skill of a smoke. The lineup, the timing, the preparation to know if it fucking works. Like, all of that taken away because the guy is a bit of sweat made him finger slip on the key. Oh, that's so anticlimactic. Who wants that?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think people just are on like their high horse, acting as if this is like some crazy thing.
Yes.
And I just don't agree with that at all. I think it's completely silly. And I think that people now they're going with like CS should be like super vanilla. We shouldn't have all these crazy binds. And I actually like completely disagree with people saying that stuff because I'd say like in the last like 6 updates where we've had new settings added to the game, half of it's just stuff that I had in my config like 3 or 4 years ago of just like bind toggles, like the radar bind, for example, just going closer, close out.
Yeah.
You have the big crosshair bind. Like, this is stuff that's just quality of life, that's just nicer for everyone. Like, are you going to argue that the big crosshair bind is easier for people to like line up? Like, I didn't see anyone say that when the big crosshair thing came out. It's like, no, it's just nicer for everyone. It just feels better.
I will say, people pick all the wrong things to get mad about too. Like, they get mad on this as though they've caught everyone hacking. Meanwhile, like, the actual one everyone should have lost their mind on was that one years ago when Nico and Glaive, when Nico wasn't aware that you could see that, like, thing, like, on the fucking radar if you, like, through the smoke. That's, like, some legit shit. If I've just lost a bunch of games to you and you were doing that, maybe then I get mad. Like, this is just some shit where it's like, also, I'm just going to say this. I think noobs just want, like, some of this stuff to be in the game so they feel more pro. I'm just going to put that out there. You can't do what Nico does. So you want the keyboard to do it for you. Like, oh, it's raising the skill floor. Yeah, your skill floor. Shut the fuck up. Get out. Anyway,
I mean,
go on.
Most of the people on like the Reddit thread that's like we are going back to OG roots and stuff like that. It's like you guys aren't.
I know.
Yeah, you guys aren't throwing these hard smokes every day. I know for a fact you're not. So that's why you're like, bring everybody back down to my level because I never practiced these smokes to begin with. It's like we don't want that Counter-Strike anymore.
Right.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.